Welcome to Bentonville, Arkansas. Located in the northwest corner of Arkansas, it's home to the original Walmart, the Five and Dime, which now attracts visitors from around the world. It sits in the lovely downtown Bentonville Square with that, what's that centerpiece real quick? Can we get a fact check? Anyways, there's so many outdoor activities to do here. Everything from paved trails that are open to the public and let you bring dogs and strollers and bikes to the more off-road experience that really let you connect with nature. And, okay, that, we're getting confirmation, that is a Confederate soldier in the middle of the town, in the middle of the square. And, Crystal Bridges, the world-class art museum located in Bentonville, Arkansas. It features predominantly American art, but also has some traveling exhibits. It's led to an increase in cultural activities and fine dining establishments in the area. And, okay, that is a freaking Confederate soldier in the square. This is ridiculous.
Woo! Hello! Hello, beautiful people. So, we hope you enjoyed our news segment. Now that you made it here, we want to break it down, get a little more into the topic, give you some reasons why you should sign the petition to get rid of the statue in the square.
So we want to start off by saying on the Arkansas Encyclopedia, on Wikipedia, on some of the Bentonville pages,
Any source, really.
It's labeled a Confederate monument.
But what is a monument? Let me break it down for you. A monument, by definition, is a statue, building, or other structure erected to commemorate a famous or notable person or event.
So it's just like
it's recognizing it.
Yeah, it's there for history. Wrong. So let's break down the word commemorate. Commemorate, by definition, means to recall and show respect for.
So the monument of the Confederate soldier is there to recall and show respect for the Confederacy.
So we want to go into the history a little bit and also talk about how the idea of uplifting the Confederacy and having this soldier there also doesn't represent Arkansas history at all. So we already saw issues. One of the people that we got a lot of information from was Rachel Howard. She's a historian that grew up in Bentonville and then moved away to get her PhD. She noted that, and this is also across history, Arkansas was divided. There was conversation about moving the capital from Little Rock to Bentonville because they didn't want the rich plantation owners in Little Rock to drag the state into a war that they were going to get all murdered in. And there was also a lot of poorer people in Northwest Arkansas that didn't own slaves. I don't know if they were for slavery or against it, but there was people who throughout the war switched back and forth from being for the Confederacy and then being adamant supporters of the Union.
Arkansas was one of those special border states that debated splitting into two states when the Civil War was starting and people were joining sides. This is a quick side note. Let's not forget the North was not perfect. The North is not all peace and love up there and how they were treating brown and black people.
Nope.
They were also still extremely racist. They were just a little bit against slavery in different ways in the South was. So let's remember that real quick too.
And so we have this turmoil when the war was happening, and then the war ends. So the seceded states join the United States again, and this idea of manifest destiny starts, and people who don't have access to money, they start going west. And so there's a lot of people in Northwest Arkansas and Northern Arkansas that go west. And so these people who were kind of for the Union aren't there anymore.
In 1894, United Daughters of the Confederacy is formed in Nashville, Tennessee. It's formed to commemorate, that fun word, the soldiers that fought for the Confederacy and to erect monuments around the country for them in their honor.
Their primary goal
is to put up statues.
That's it.
That's their goal.
An important point we forgot to mention was that Jim Crow laws were codified into federal law in 1896 with Plessy versus Ferguson, the separate but equal decision. And this is necessary for the United Daughters of the Confederacy because they use this as another reasoning for putting up monuments and statues of the Confederacy to reinforce the Jim Crow laws and white supremacy.
And so did they get it. They got everywhere.
So 1908, this statue goes up in the Bentonville Square. This statue is not for anybody in particular. This statue is not a certain soldier or general or whatever. This statue is just a prototype. There was a couple companies who were making the same statue and sending them out all across the South. So if you look up Confederate monuments, you'll see similar images
to this one. Yeah, so this isn't anyone special. But Alex, what about the plaque underneath this statue? That's not him?
James Berry? What? So James Berry is an Arkansas politician. He's also was a Confederate soldierman. They put this plaque up in honor of him because the chapter, the United Daughters of the Confederacy chapter, was actually named after him. It was called the James H. Berry United Daughters of Confederacy chapter. He paid for over half of the statue.
There it is.
After he died, they wanted to honor him, so they put a plaque up.
There you go.
And then an interesting fact about the United Daughters of the Confederacy of the Northwest Arkansas group is if you look at the history of it, most of the women who are in that group aren't even from Arkansas. Like their ancestry is from Georgia,
Mississippi, Alabama.
like these deep South states. So what does that mean and how the Confederacy was trying to spread?
They're also, the United Daughters of the Confederacy will fact check to make sure that's still up to date in 2020 with the current political situation. They were considered a hate group for a long time. So what does that mean, that this group that is put on these watch lists is funding these things? And I know those lists can be kind of sketchy because we get some other organizations that are actually very good. They get put on there just for political motives by the government. But this is a group that was supporting white supremacy and supporting the memory of the Confederacy, which wanted to enslave other human beings. So there seems some rightful labeling there, you know? So we've been interested in this. We moved here when we were like 10, 9 or 10, whatever. We were like little babes. And we moved here, and then we got a little bit older. We're like, hey, what's this dude doing in the square? We have some pictures with him. Oh, it's a Confederate soldier. And so we were in high school. We're like, what can we do to get rid of this? We didn't really have like routes. We didn't know what to do. And we finally got some information. We were told that it was on private property, that the local government had actually sold the plot to the United States, to the United Daughters of the Confederacy. So it was actually private property. So they could essentially do with it what they wanted. Fast forward, 10 years? This was like 2010 to 2014 when we were in high school. So 2020, we made it. We find out that's a lie. The government's actually owned the plot for a while.
Since 1996, when the James H. Berry chapter disbanded.
And they've just actively decided to keep the soldier up. We really can't find a good reason besides that they want to reinforce Confederacy and white supremacy. But yeah, and so the ironic thing about this for us is that Walmart, which capitalism is a whole other conversation, Walmart made Bentonville. It's made it boom. We have people coming in from all over the world, and that's not to try to like fool anyone. Well, Bentonville is still a predominantly white city. We also do have a diversifying population with people coming in, and we even have a lot of visitors come in, whether it be for business things or just to see some of like the history of Walmart.
And when they get brought in, they get brought to the square because it's where one of the first, like the Walton Five and Dime was. And it's also,
as you saw in the intro,
it's also like the middle of the town. And so people get brought there, and then people from all over the world, and some people who don't even know what they're taking pictures with are taking pictures
with the Confederate soldier.
With this soldier who wanted people to be owned by other people. We also see that with the Christmas lights, which they just recently got taken down, but the Christmas lights light up and they point like directly to this prototype of a soldier.
Assumingly not purposefully, unconsciously, just because it's in the center of the square, but like the effect is still there. And any picture, when people take pictures in the middle, it's there, the lights are coming up to it and like flashing so you can see it. And so the like ironic thing about this is like during the big Walmart shareholder meetings, they put up flags from all over the world because they bring in people from like all ranks, people working in Walmart stores around the world to like execs from around the world. And they bring in just so many people, which is like a great thing to see and be a part of. And then they line the square with these flags about like unity and people coming together and cultural diversity. And in the middle of all of that still sits this white dude that wanted to own black and brown bodies. And even with that,
the Confederacy is literally against the idea
of unity of other countries like that.
Other countries, other races, other cultures. Like the Confederacy is against that. It's fundamentally against that. So even if Bentonville doesn't want to do something about it, I'm calling out Walmart to do something about it.
We don't know if we can do that, so this might just get cut out.
So I guess the question now is, what do we do? So there's been a petition going around for a while, I think. We're gonna link it below. We hope if this touches you or you agree, and I hope you agree, that you sign it and you share it as much as you can. But then what happens to the statue? Where does it go? Does it get tossed? Does it get destroyed?
We never are people that want to advocate for the erasure of history. We want to advocate for an honest history. So let's call the Confederacy what it was. It was racist, they were warmongering, and they supported white supremacy. We're not saying, depending on what's available, we're not saying necessarily destroy the statue, but it belongs more in like, there's a Pea Ridge battleground down the street that's a Civil War memorial where you can go, and there's a lot of history. In fact, you could move it there and explain how it was founded, who the United Daughters of the Confederacy are, maybe how they're labeled now, so you see how those opinions transition over time. There's ways we can actively address this and educate people without showing respect for the Confederacy and creating reverence for the Confederacy, and creating a space where basically you're telling people that they aren't wanted there and that you want to go back to the old ways of the 1850s.
But the historian that was mentioned earlier also brought up this wonderful point. But Northwest Arkansas is becoming more of this artsy place, and there is hundreds of local artists that could create beautiful monuments or representations of what Bentonville is, and that could be in the center of the square.
They could also do like a transitionary thing that changes with the seasons, or there's so many other things they could be doing, and they're actively choosing to not. And so we just wanted to kind of like put some facts around why we and a lot of other people don't want that soldier there.
Also, we're gonna provide links to different interviews and articles and research that we found that correlate to everything we're saying.
Sign the petition below.
And feel free to engage in the comments. Like, we would love, both of us individually or like tag team, like we would love to engage about this and what this means. And also what this means for a city and a community in 2020 to have statues that are monuments to a group of people that left the United States because they wanted to own other humans.
I'm a pigeon. I'm a pigeon.
He established a law practice in a plantation near Nashville, Tennessee.
So he doesn't go there either.
No.
Okay.
Wait, is it gonna be me jumping or me in the spot?
I don't know. Whatever looks best.
You see me over here? Hey.